All right, is my thing on? Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. Am I on? All right, awesome sauce. Okay. And guys, if you hear that loud sound, it's my fan in the background. I pretty much have it on because I don't like the sound of silence. But other than that, hello, buzzing folks. It's Queen Versity. I am back in action. And sorry it took so long. I finally feel better now after resting for a while, after editing that story for who knows, like months or years. But I feel a lot better now. But other than that, how you guys doing? It's great to see you all. Let's see who's there. Hello there, Queen Babe. And hey there, Queen Oh, I like that name. That's a pretty name. Hello there. So, oh wait, hold on 1 second. Okay, that's gone. All right. So anyway, I am here to talk about this very interesting trope that has been going on for so many years. It's called the damsel in distress trope. So basically, this trope has been. Wait, what? Yeah, I'm doing well. Thanks, Queen Babe. And so the damsel in distress is both an iconic and an infamous trope for lots of reasons. And basically, for decades, it's been the, let's see, like that one story thing that everybody is pretty much familiar with, everyone from kids to adults, well, everyone, of course. And for anyone who doesn't know what a damsel in distress trope is, a damsel in distress is basically when a character who gets captured or kidnapped by the villain of the story and the main character, which is you, who you're playing as, or reading about, or watching on TV. They're basically doing whatever they can to get stronger so that way they can defeat the bad guy and rescue the person who has been kidnapped pretty much the entire story. It's usually women, but there are times where it's actually men. Don't forget that. There are times when it's men. And, oh, nice to meet you too. I like your name, by the way. It's a pretty name. Okay. So other than that, the damsel in distress trope, it's been receiving a bit of controversy in the last recent decades, mostly because they say the treatment of like women in the series. But the thing is that when you're a normal person and the villain who's capturing you is basically, well, let's see, they're very strong and powerful. What can you do? Basically. Let's see, hold on 1 second. Okay, that's nothing. All right, so I'm gonna go into why the trope has been both the good and the bad. So I'm gonna start with the goods with the trope. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask me any questions if you want. So, and also the trope has been pretty popular around, like, let's say the 90s decade of the video games and movies, and mostly video games because they're basically just a basic plot of the stories, if you guys know what I mean. It's basic, but it can be effective depending on how you want to do it. That is, like, how much the main character grows, how much that person who was the damsel in distress, how much they grow, and how they want to become stronger, especially after a situation that they've been through. But here's the thing I have noticed about the damsel in distress trope that has been driving me up the wall is basically they said that the character is supposed to be strong, they're supposed to be full of confidence, but when it comes to them being strong, all of a sudden they don't do anything. They put the other characters in trouble, and when they get rescued, they're actually ungrateful to the person rescuing them. They say things like protect yourself or whatever, or I don't need your help. And the thing is, then if you don't need their help, then why did you get captured in the first place? And that's usually the problem. And when something like that happens, it actually makes the person who was kidnapped actually unlikable, and then people end up hating them for lots of reasons. Huh? Who was that? Hey there, Geo Heroic. Great to see you again. Oh, geez, got something in my throat. Okay, So I'm good. So other than that, oh, and if you have any questions, Gio, about the damsel in distress trope, feel free to go ahead. And so, what was I talking about? Oh my gosh, my brain is lost. What was I talking about? Oh crap. Hold on. Oh yeah, it's also unscripted, by the way. I don't have a script. I didn't have time to do scripts. Is it script? 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 Yeah, script. That's what it was. Okay. Sorry, brain fart. Okay, other than that, so let's see. What was the good thing? Okay, so the reason why I did wanted to talk about this damsel in distress trope is because I recently was watching this classic 1940s cartoons with the Superman, and we all know Lois Lane, which we all know who is the damsel in distress. But over time, she has gotten better, but keep in mind she does have flaws, which is okay because that does happen. Not everybody's perfect. Everybody has flaws, and that actually makes them human. And so I noticed in the cartoons, Lois Lane, so she's basically the what you call it, the writer, reporter, or something like that. And she basically goes on like let's see, like kind of adventure to write the stories about like an events that's been happening and stuff, especially what's been going on with the villains. And there are times where she did get herself in danger, but she was a bit curious. That's happened. You get curious, you know. Curiosity killed the cat. Anyway, let's see who show up. Hey there, Queen AG. How you doing? Just got here. Of course you did. All right. What's the next thing I was gonna talk about? Yeah. So when I look back at those cartoons, the Superman cartoons, it was a decade for its time, and I did love the stories at the time, especially as a kid, because I did used to imagine myself being like, you know, the damsel in distress and being rescued by, you know, the quote unquote Prince Charming or whatever it is. But yeah, the kitty cats. I do love the kitty cats. Happy International Cat Day. Meow. Okay, anyway, I'm getting distracted. All right, so what was it? What was I talking about? Oh my god, my brain. Oh my god. What was I talking about? Oh, I remember now. Okay, so Lois Lane. So the thing is, yes, she does have flaws. She does have her ups and downs here and there. And some people say that that one Superman cartoon, I think it was the animated series, and what you call it? They say that she was actually a pretty good character there. That she was more than just a damsel in distress, which is a good thing on her part because that shows that she's more than just a damsel in distress. And another damsel in distress character that I did remember from the childhood that I remember that they did a very, very good job with her character in the movie is, of course, Daphne. We all know Daphne from Scooby Doo. She was known as, like, you know, the pretty popular girl, and she's basically friends with the jock, the nerd girl, the outcast, social outcast member, and the talking dog. And she basically was a good representation of those popular girls because it shows that not all popular girls are like mean and stuff, like, you know, those typical ones that we see in those movies. She basically was a good example of what we call the friendly, popular rich girl and the damsel in distress. So back in the old days, before that movie came out, Daphne was well known as being the damsel in distress, like the one who gets kidnapped all the time. And in the movie, they exploit that by showing how Daphne was getting tired of the fact that people were actually treating her like, let's see, they're not taking her seriously because they see her as like the not so bright in the head girl. And well, yeah, she does have her moments where she's not really bright in the head, but it's okay. It's a human thing. We all have moments where we're not really bright in the head, myself included. But other than that, Daphne was in fact getting sick and tired of people not taking her seriously and just seeing her as the damsel in distress. And so she trained in to do like karate or like martial arts. You can call it martial arts or karate. I don't know, either one. So she trained on those so that way she can self defense herself and to get better with so that way she won't be known as like the damsel in distress member of the group. And she actually did a pretty good job with that, even though she did get captured in the movie, but it's okay though. And she did a comeback against that villain who did doubted her for being like, you know, the damsel in distress because she was sick of it. And she did prove them wrong. And hey, she was a superheroine in that movie. Well, oh God, I shouldn't say that. No. I should say that she actually was. Actually, not. Yeah, I think we can say that she was. Yeah, I think so. Okay, but other than that, I'm getting distracted. And basically, they did a very, very good job with Daphne's character, and that movie still holds a special place in my heart for showing that everybody has like their own parts, and they do in fact want to be seen more and be taken more seriously in the group because they are a very important member of the group. Like what you call it? Velma, she is well known as being the smart girl, like the smart girl of the group. But the thing is that, you know, Fred was so full of himself that he didn't give Velma the credit that she needed to show that she actually did help them out with the plan because he didn't come up with a plan, she did. And I understand why she was upset during that moment because I would have been upset too if somebody took all the credit for something that I came up with. Would you guys feel the same way if somebody else took the credits for something that you did? It's actually pretty selfish, but eventually Fred did learn his lesson and he did get Velma the credit that she needed. Okay, I'm talking about that. Well, I'll talk about Velma's character another time because that's basically like the smart character trope. I'll say that for like another time. So, ooh, I should have turned that off. Let's see. Can you guys still hear me? Yeah. Okay. So, other than that, yeah. So I was talking about. Let's see. You're right, Queen AG. It was pretty cute, and it was very sweet that Fred actually let her talk and give her let her get the credit that she wanted so she can show that she's not just the one note smart person. And so let's see. And what else? Oh yeah. So the good thing about the damsel in distress tropes is basically like, let's say if a character knows that they have been kidnapped all the time and they do want to do like, let's say, better with the situation, and they actually do want to help their friends and or their loved ones, family, anyone, and they do want to get better with that, and then all of a sudden at some point the roles can be switched and that person is going to be the one who rescues the person who saved them before. And that was honestly sometimes be a good thing to do, like the damsel in distress trope, and show that they are just more than just that, which I gave Daphne, for example. And so, oh, and another good one was Amy Rose. So Amy Rose is another good case of being a damsel in distress. So yeah, she does get kidnapped at times, which is okay because she's basically the normal one of the group. She doesn't have like super strength or anything like that. Yeah, she does have the hammer, but the hammer is used to make up for the fact that she doesn't have like muscle or anything like that, like the other characters do. Like Sonic has speed, Tails can fly, and is intelligent. And Knuckles, he's super strong, and Amy's the normal one. It adds like a very interesting balance between the characters because if you make everybody at once do like the same thing, like all at once, like certain movies nowadays, then basically you can't really tell them apart or tell who's fighting because yeah, it can be quite difficult. I sometimes feel like movies nowadays, they kind of don't know what to do with certain characters and basically just want them all to do the same thing because we can't have a normal person because having a normal person will make things boring. No, it will not. A normal person can actually add balance to things. Don't forget that. Okay, let's see. And another thing about her is the fact that she still does what you call it? Oh yeah, she does have her moments where she actually does help and she actually does want to make things better for everyone. And she shows her support for those who actually helped her and the ones that she wants to help. And when it comes to the villains, she talks smack to them, which is honestly very funny. Because who wouldn't want to talk smack to somebody? They do be funny, but as long as it's not too over the top to the point where it's cringe, then don't do it. Okay, so that was another good case of damsel in distress. And if you guys can think of any other good examples of a damsel in distress, you can let me know in the comments. Let's see. Speaking of comments, let me see. A damsel in distress could work if they. That is true. They can also sometimes be helpful whenever somebody doesn't know what to do. like even if the hero doesn't know what to do, then if the person who's been kidnapped finds out what to do, then that actually makes them more interesting instead of whatever is what it is. Yeah, you're right about that, Jaden. That's true. But you had to remember that at the same time, she's still a princess and she still has to say in the kingdom because a princess is a very, very, very important political figure to take care of the kingdom. Because if she goes out for an adventure and she doesn't come back, then it's a problem. That's why princesses, they're very important. They're not just damsel in distress, they're very, very, very important. And a prince, too. A prince is very important, too, which is why sometimes the villains, they actually do want to, yeah. And let's see, what else? Oh, let me see. Let's see, Penelope Pitstop, the classic damsel. Actually, I think she's another good example of a damsel in distress. Penelope Pitstop. Even though I haven't seen like that show yet, but I think I've heard that sometimes some people got annoyed with her. But other than that, well, sure, some characters can be a little annoying, but if they do more than just that and are not just annoying 24/7, then they're actually a good fine damsel in distress. Let's see. And as for Daisy, I can't say too much about Daisy because she didn't really play a major role in the games like that. Well, the only major role that I remember that she played in was in Super Mario Land, which that Game Boy game. But in the other games, she's quite all right. I just can't say too much about her. I can't. No, I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. But it's fine. Let's see. What did you all say, Princess Peach? Okay, so Princess Peach, she basically is like the iconic and the infamous example of like the damsel in distress. So back in the old days, Peach was introduced as being the damsel in distress, and to this still a damsel in distress, which hasn't changed much. But there are times in video games where she actually does do her own thing. And you guys remember in Super Princess Peach, she was the one who rescued Mario and Luigi. And let's see. And in certain games, she does become a playable character, and she actually has shown to have her own strength and weaknesses. Like, for example, she is the slowest out of all the characters, but she does have this ability that the other characters don't have, and it's basically like floating in the air for a short amount of time. But still, she is the slowest, but it's okay because unlike Toad, for example, Toad, he runs the fastest, but his jump is not so high. And as for Luigi, his controls are like not very. They can be a little slippery at times, and he does jump the highest. And Mario, he's a great starting point for beginners because after all, he's like the main character. The main characters are usually like the beginners, basically. And so let's see. What is that? Oh yeah, that's fine and all. It's just that it leads to some very interesting questions, which I will not go into because it's too much to talk about. Sometimes I avoid too many theories because some of them be very, very weird, and I mean very weird. And let's see. Elise, we don't talk about Elise. I'm just kidding. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. Okay, so where do I begin with Elise? So the thing with her is that basically they try, and I mean try, to make her an interesting character. But when you are a character who gets kidnapped in a game 5 or 6 times in one game, that can lead to problems. And okay. Okay, I'm not gonna go into too much about that. It's okay. I'm gonna get a headache if I talk about that. Okay, so she actually makes Princess Peach look like a goddess. Okay, anyway, just kidding. Let's see. What's another good example of a damsel in distress? A good damsel in distress can also, what else could they be? As long as they have a good personality and, willing to do good with their friends, then, huh? Fiona? Okay, so Fiona, I wouldn't say that well, at the beginning, you can kind of say that she was, and maybe in that one 3D ride, I think at Universal Studios, she was a damsel in distress. But Fiona pretty much was she was actually a pretty good princess at the time because she did have that no nonsense attitude. She was very kind, very helpful, and she did learn not to judge someone based on their looks, and that's why she fell in love with Shrek. And her and Shrek are pretty much the example of those cute couples who show the world that it's not about beauty and stuff. It's about the person in the inside, and that's very, very important. And let's see, what's another damsel? April O'Neil from the '80s. I don't have anything to say about that yet because basically I didn't see the '80s version yet. But maybe once I see, I'll probably give my opinion about that, or like, yeah, basically give an opinion about that. Let's see, Pan from Dragon Ball GT. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Okay, okay. This is where I have to go to the bad trope about the damsel in distress. You guys know the examples of a bad damsel in distress is basically the ones who be like, I'm just as strong as the boys. Idiots in distress. That's what I call them. Idiots in distress. So what they do is that they do want to be taken more seriously, but then they always rush into battle without having the knowledge, or they have a little bit of knowledge of battle experiences, or their combat skills are not that good. And whenever they try to fight, they always get smacked or punched or kicked once in the face, knocking them out and putting them in harm's way. And then the other characters have to go rescue them. And then once they rescue them, they're actually mean to their rescuers. Like they say things like, protect yourself, or go save yourself, or something like that, or I don't need your help, or I can do this myself, or something like that. And so those type of damsel in distress, they drive me crazy. And I can't stand those type of damsel in distress because if you could take care of yourself, why would in the world would you go into the battle and you get smacked, like one shotted, as people say? And oh my god. Okay, so the types of damsel in distress. Okay, so Pan, for example, Dragon Ball GT. Oh, and another thing about those type of damsel in distress is that they get themselves killed, and then the other characters who are rescuing them, they get hurt or injured, and then once they come back from the battle, they're injured badly because of that damsel in distress. And you know what? They actually don't even apologize for their actions, and they think that they're in the right for doing whatever it is. Let's see. Why talk stuff when you know you're trash? Actually, that's a very good question because they think they're so tough and should be taken more seriously. But then once they get into battle, they're like, help me. And then once they do get rescued, they're like, I don't need your help. Those type of characters, they make me sick. Those type of bad damsel in distress, I think the infamous example for that one is, let's see. Yeah, like Pan, like you said, from Dragon Ball GT. And another example, Sakura Haruno from Naruto. And who else? Um, to a degree, April O'Neil from the 2012 version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The boy damsel, Chris Thorndike. Okay, so he's another example of that one. And I think there was another one. I think. Okay, so somebody pointed this out. On this one rare occasion on Sonic X, Amy goes to rescue Sonic, and he kind of had a little bit of the idiot in distress moment. And I was like, Sonic, your idiot in distress is kicking in. Don't do it, because if you do it, you're going to make Amy look bad for rescuing you. And at least she's rescuing you. That's all I can say, you know. And how do you guys feel about those idiots in distress? Like, do you guys think that they should just go do something that they just more so be better at, which is not combat or like going into the battlefield or anything like that? Let's see, what's another bad example of a damsel in distress? Another bad damsel in distress example is like, let's say, um, do you guys can't stand when those moments where they're actually so mean to the rescuers or to their friends or anything like that? And if you guys wonder why I said April from the 2012 TMNT version, so in that one episode, do you guys remember that when April said that she actually wanted to join the turtles on their mission? But the thing is that she doesn't have that much battle experience like they did, because the thing is, do you guys know how long they have been training? Guess the number. Not 5, not 10, not 11, not 12, not 13, not 14, 15 years. It took them 15 years of training until they can go on the actual mission, which means April has a long way. They said, well, Rap said 15 years, but it could be 20 years or something like that. But yeah, I think depending on the training at least. And so, but you were close enough. You were close enough, AG. It took 15 years of training until they can actually go on the actual real mission. In April, she believed that she was ready, and you know what she did? She was incompetent. She kept rushing into danger even though she was told not to. She was hiding from the enemies, and she got one-shotted. And when Donnie saves her at one point, do you know what she did? Did she say thank you or anything like that? Like saying, thank you for saving my life, Donnie. Nope. No, she didn't. Instead, she whined like a baby to him and told him to protect himself. So basically, that's another way of saying thank you for saving my life, Donnie. Not. If somebody said that to me, instead of saying thank you, just say you're welcome for saving your life. And you know what's funny? She was actually surprised that she actually got captured, and she was like, I am not going to yell for help. And then she gets captured and she was like, help, help me, help, help. And I was like, April, they literally told you to not run into getting in trouble first. And you know what you did? You did it, and then you got captured. And I was like, oh my God. And you know what happened? When Raph saves her, she said, great, saved by Raph. I'm never going to let this down. And I was like, April, is that how you say thank you to someone who's going to save you? He could have just left you there and then you'll be fine on your own, would you? And that's why I can't stand those types of damsel in distress that who actually decided to be a jerk even though they got captured. And that was ridiculous. And you know what? If she don't want Raph to save her, then Raph could have waited outside and let her get out on her own. But she probably could not. Like, that's just ridiculous. Oh, and you know what's weird? The weird thing about the episode is that instead of April apologizing for being impatient and being incompetent and for getting them into trouble, for some reason the turtles are the ones who apologize to her, even though she was the one who did any wrong. And that's another bad thing about a damsel in distress that I cannot stand, is that the rescuers for some reason apologize for them for something that they didn't even do in the first place. And the damsel in distress who caused all that trouble in the first place, they get off scot-free. And that actually didn't, it was so bad because they took 15 years to train to do a real mission, but all April had to do was throw a temper tantrum and then she's in, even though she didn't have that much battle experience like they did. What would you guys do? Bring in somebody who actually spent years of training, or bring in somebody who will throw a temper tantrum and then who would just throw a temper tantrum and think that they're ready, when actually in reality they're not? The nectar I mean nectar. Ugh, I can't speak today. All right, so other than that, let's see. What's the other what was I talking about? Yeah, so that was a bad example of a damsel in distress. And yes, in the series, I know she got a bit better at some point, but I think season 2 was when April started to get a bit annoying. And I don't understand how that type of trope could be written like that, where sometimes the character, male or female, doesn't matter. They end up being complete jerkholes about like who rescues them and what to do and what not to do, or to be taken seriously. And so the reason why I said Sakura at one point, so the thing with her is that in the beginning of the series, she started off okay, but the other sides of her personality was a bit annoying and what you call it? Oh, and I think another person to blame about the fact why Sakura is untrained. So, well, yeah, okay. So Kakashi, you guys know Kakashi. Well, actually, obviously, everybody knows Kakashi Sensei. So he signed all of his what you call it, team members who. Wait, what was I talking about? Oh my god, my brain. I'm not making any sense right now. I'm so sorry, y'all. I had a bit of a brain fart moment. The brain was like, wait, what? Okay, I'm sorry. All right, so let's see. What was that? She was. Yay! Those type of characters, they do drive me nuts. Those I'll talk about in another time. The what you call it, boy crazy or girl crazy type of characters. I'll go into those another time. So let's see. Hey there, Shadow86 YT. Oh, finally, I got your name right this time. I almost said two. Okay, sorry. Let's see. Now, what was I saying? What was I saying? Oh yeah. So Kakashi, as you guys know, in the Chunin exams, have you guys noticed that it seems like all three of the members of Team 7, they seem to be very underprepared when it comes to like ninja battling and stuff? Because when it comes to the Chunin exams, all three members have to show off their skills as like ninjas, like all three. I didn't say two, I didn't say one, three. And so Naruto, he's a bit rocky when it comes to like fighting and stuff, which is kind of understandable because he was like training and stuff, but Kakashi didn't really train him like that. And Sasuke, he had a lot of talents. Well, Naruto, he had a little bit of talent, and Sakura has like a mid to average type of talent in a way, which did start off as like a good balance between the all three. But the thing is that, wait, what? Let's see. Alrighty, see you later, Queen. I'll see you in another stream. Take good care of yourself. And let's see, Janet. Oh yeah. So yeah, you're right about that one. Is that Orochimaru could have easily killed them, like very easily, and they're very underprepared. And you notice that basically their fighting skills, they're basically like from the Shinobi Academy type of fighting skills. And their skills are not really that advanced for them. So they basically were not ready for that test entirely, especially Sakura. She was not ready for that test at all. And he still signed them up to do the Chunin exams, which is one of the few flaws that I have a problem with the Chunin exams. Yeah, sure, everybody says that Chunin exams is a masterpiece, but keep in mind that that type of arc actually has flaws. It has flaws. And that one was one of the few examples of the flaws, is that he still signed them up to do the Chunin exams, and Sakura was not ready for that. And basically that's like signing your student up to go do the to do like a mission or something like that that's related to like a mission, but then if they die, then it's a problem. So you're just going to sign your student up for missions that they're not ready for, and then they'll die. And that's why she was having a difficult time with fighting them, because fighting the sound ninjas, because their fighting levels were way more advanced than hers, and the fighting skills that she had was basically the Shinobi Academy type of fighting skills, which means that she was not, and I mean not, ready. Let's see, what's that? Um, both of them have problems. Both Naruto and Sakura have problems. Yeah, that's pretty much all I can say. Both of them do. And the only difference I can say is that Naruto was at least nice to her, but she decided to be a jerkhole to him. And yeah, well, actually, you know what? I'll say that for another time. I'll say that for like a love triangles thing, the love triangles trope, which I can't stand. So let's see what else. Okay, so here's an important thing of what you can do with the damsel in distress tropes, is that if you want your character to be a damsel in distress, you have to ask yourself, why do they need to be a damsel in distress? Is there a plot point that's going to help them change over time, or is it going to be a plot point that will actually um, help them get more battle experiences, like help them train to get better, so that way they won't have to get in trouble as much? And then when someone who they know, or somebody who's like their friend or family member or lover or something like that, and if they do want to help them, they have to help them. And so basically, excuse me. And another thing is that if you create a character who's said to have like really amazing fighting abilities, but then you don't know what to do with that character, and you turn them into a damsel in distress for some reason, then what was the point of giving them all them abilities if all they're going to do is just be a damsel in distress? Pretty much majority of the time. And if you don't know what to do with that character, don't put them in there. Okay? Just don't put them in there. I basically learned that from the experience that I've been having for a while, is that when it comes to writing characters, especially if you want them to be like a damsel in distress, or like a strong character or a normal character or anything like that, think about what you want to do with the character and how you want their actions to affect the story and how it will change the story, or especially like the other characters around them, and to do better for themselves and for other people or animals or anything like that. Let's see. What? Let's see. The only ones that are valid are those captured. They can be, depending on the story at least, or like how they affect the story. And so if you do want your character to be stressed, make sure they're captured once or you can do twice if you want to. Well, yeah, you can do twice if you want to, it like depending on the situation. But if you do it like 5 or 6 or even 10 times, it's going to create a bit of an issue to think that people who are watching them are going to think that they're just very dependent on the person who's going to rescue them. Because sometimes that does happen in stories where a character who sometimes get kidnapped, they be too dependent on other people to rescue them. Oh my god, that car. Okay, so other than that, the damsels in distress tropes, they can work. They can still work nowadays, but you still have to think about the consequences of their actions and how it's going to affect the situation and how it's going to make them basically like very important to the story in some ways. I know it can be tough, especially writing certain characters. Some of them can be very tough. Like for example, whenever I try to write characters, I do be doing a fairly decent job when it comes to writing female characters, but the male characters, I kind of have a difficult time with them because obviously I'm not a male, and they can be a little tough from their point of view. But what I basically learned is that I learned this trick from like what you call it? It's like a certain video. I forgot what it was called. It was like a long time ago when I was watching this. So basically, the character is you're supposed to be like from their point of view. Like whenever you're writing a character, picture yourself as that character and picture yourself like what you're gonna do in this situation if something like this happened, and how are they going to be growing from that, and how is it going to affect their actions and how their experiences is going to change over time after that experience that they have. That's pretty much why it's called point of view for a reason. It's basically like picturing yourself as that character, and that character being like you, or being like reminding you of your friend or family member or um, loved one, or anything like that. Let's see. What was that? Let's see. Another example of a damsel in distress is the ones who are clearly not cut out for who they want to be let go for. That is true. They obviously sometimes they're trying to, it seems like they want to help, a situation, but then they end up getting in the way and it causes like um a difficult situation, which honestly makes the problem went from small to big, and it could be very annoying at times. And some of the characters who I can give a good example of that, you guys remember those classic Spider-Man movies, like the ones from back in 2002 to 2007. Wow, I feel so old. Okay, so Mary Jane Watson. So she started off as like a very friendly girl next door, but the problem is that her actions, depending on like the situation, it can cause a bit of a problem. And the fact that she's been, oh Lord, it's the relationship things that she's been going through, and it's just okay. I'm gonna say that for another time because that's the whole topic for another day. Because if I talk about it, I'm gonna be having a major headache, and we'll be here for a while. And so I will talk about that as in the I'll say that as a trope as the me love interest. Well, at least that's what somebody called it, or the selfish love interest in a way. But that's for like a love interest trope. I'll say that for another time. And so I'll give you guys a good tip about how to use a damsel in distress. So if you want to actually make a damsel in distress character, please keep in mind of what you want to do with the character and ask yourself, why are they the damsel in distress, and why are they important to the situation? Why are they important to the villains? Why are they important for the hero or the heroine to save? Why are they there? And that's the biggest important question. Why are they there? Make sure to keep that in line, okay? And that's usually for the tip for anyone who wants to become a writer in the future and who needs like a bit of a tip for if they make like it could be like it could be like a real life thing, or it could be like a fantasy story or anything like that, or science fiction, or even horror. It could be anything you guys want. Basically, any genre you want, especially if it's like your favorite genre. Because I know it's always fun to do like favorite genres, and if there's some other genres that you do want to do and don't know what to do yet, it's best to check out videos that talk about like what to do with that certain genre, because there are some genres that I'm trying to learn how to do. Like I'm trying to learn how to do science fiction, and I try to do horror, but I'm not really good at that, so I decided not to do it. And what was another one? It was I think the only story I'm not going to do is the time traveling stories, because time traveling stories, they're very very easy to mess up, and they can cause a lot of confusions and time paradox, and I don't have the time for that. It stresses me out. And so, and I'm sorry if I'm going off topic, but I just had to speak the truth there and had to give like a good example of like, and all that stuff. What? Yeah, you know me, Queen Dave. Sometimes my voice it changes, and I can't help it. Okay, I'm just kidding. Okay, so what's it called? Oh, and I think another type of damsel in distress that can be cool to write about is the ones that actually who actually escape and they're willing to try to find a way to get out of the situation. And basically, it's kind of like going through like a big puzzle, like a gigantic puzzle. Because I know sometimes being locked up in a castle, it's very confusing on where to go because it's a castle they never been inside of before. Wait, which one? Oh, I'm sorry. There's so many Robins that I'm kind of confused which Robin. But it's okay. And let's see. What's the last type of damsel in distress? The damsels in distress in the video game eras, they're basically just a plot device, but there are times where they actually do play an important role to the story. And those type of characters, they do be very interesting. And of course, I can't forget this one example of if you guys remember in Super Mario 3D Land, and we all know Bowser kidnapped Peach as usual. And the thing is that at one point, if at one point, Bowser actually let Peach go, and he actually let her try to run away. But then he sent all of his goons to chase after her and capture her again, basically making it very messed up and torturous, which is honestly kind of creepy when you think about it. It's actually creepy. Ugh, think about it sending shivers down my spine. Ooh, creep me out. Yeah, that's just, yeah. But even though they're trying to do better with Peach now, and they're trying to give her more of a personality and make her more adventurous, and they're trying to do better with her than how they did years ago. And we all found out that I think it's the Paper Mario thing. I think at one point, I think it was Paper Mario. I think is that Peach actually found Bowser's journal or diary or whatever it is. When she opened it and read it, she actually found out that Bowser actually had a crush on her, and basically that's the reason why he's been kidnapping her a lot. And that's another thing about the damsel in distress is that basically they're the target for the villain, because sometimes the villain wants to uh, sometimes mess with the main character, or it's because they have feelings for that character who they kidnap, or they just want to mess with their heads, basically. Sometimes the villains they be doing some sick stuff, or sometimes they be doing stuff for the selfish reasons, and it's a lot to take in. But that's for villains trope. like a certain type of villain's trope. I'll say that for another time. And so, you guys also have any final examples for damsel in distress, like the good ones, the bad ones, and any other types of damsels in distress? Let's see, hold on 1 second. And you guys can go ahead and leave in the comments while I check something really quick. Let's see, anything else? Let's see, that's not important. No. Let's see, that's not important. Nope. Nope. Let's see. Yeah, that's whatever. Okay. Let's see. Let's see. Bowser was an entire different breed, and Bowser was. Ah, yes. So that's actually a very good one, Jaden. So Bowser, if you guys remember, in Bowser's Fury, Bowser was so full of rage and anger that he didn't care at all about kidnapping Peach or taking over the Mushroom Kingdom or anything like that. He simply wanted to kill Mario. Like he just wanted his head. Like that's exactly like when it comes to like rage. Like he had that rage paint on him or something like that. And he was honestly very terrifying in that. Because can you imagine losing somebody for like 30 something years and then all of a sudden one day you're so full of rage that you can't think straight and all you can do is think about like doing the messed up stuff? And that actually did make Bowser very terrifying because actually, interesting enough, I actually did used to be scared of Bowser as a kid, like back in during the days when I used to play the Super Mario 64 on the Nintendo 64. He was actually very terrifying in that game because especially from a kid's point of view, it's actually kind of scary. But nowadays, not so much, not anymore. Let's see, Rapunzel. Rapunzel, I had to say, I'm not so sure which Rapunzel. Maybe the one from Tangled, I think. I don't know, but maybe the one from Tangled. I think she's a. I don't know what to say about her honestly because I don't remember that much from Tangled. I only watched that movie once, but I don't really remember too much about it, so I can't really say anything too much about it. So I'm sorry, I can't really say anything too much about that. Let's see. A Mary Sue. Oh, a stream about a Mary Sue? Sure, I can do that one day. I can do a Mary Sue or a Gary Sue. Actually, both of them, of course, because they're both the same thing. I'll do a stream one day about the Mary and the Gary Sue. One day at least. Let's see. The goofy villains may be funny, well, one day, 30 Oh yes, those villains they be called like the at times, yeah, they're at times goofy and at times serious. And that's for another villain topic. I'll go into the topics about villains about that another time. And still, and if you still want to use the damsel in distress trope in like in your stories or anything like that, you can definitely do that. But make sure to remember the reason why they are the damsel in distress, and not just make them the damsel in distress out of nowhere when they're said to have strong abilities, because it actually adds confusion to what their character is supposed to be. And there are some characters in animes that do be suffering through that, and it drives me up the wall. And trust me, there's a whole lot of them. But other than that, you guys can still use the damsels in distress in the stories if you want to. And if you still need some good examples of the damsels in distress, there's always Daphne, there's I don't know what else to say. Oh yeah, Lois Lane to a degree, but yeah, to a degree. And Amy Rose, and at times Peach to a degree, depending on how they used her in the story, at least. But of course, there's always more. And for the love of goodness gracious, let's see. if you guys do want your character to be a damsel in distress, please don't make them into jerk holes, please, because that actually makes them 10 times unlikable and makes people actually hate them. And it's to the point where it's actually very annoying where they do this. Oh, I should do this video for another time. This type of thing that I have noticed in those old cartoons, and still to this day, well, actually, yeah, I think still to this day too, is the characters who get in trouble for no reason or for something that wasn't even their fault in the first place. I will go into details about that and how much it affects me after all these years. Because there are some of those episodes that I did watch in the past and they actually made me sick to my stomach. And to this day, some of those episodes still make me sick to my stomach, the ones that I saw in the past. And I will go into straight up details about that in another video. And trust me, I might get mad, I might be enraged, but it happens pretty much all the time. But other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video about the damsels in distress and give you guys lots of details about them and about the trope and the good and the bad and how you want to use them in a story and how they should affect the story in a way. But keep in mind, everyone, you can still use them. There's no shame in it. You can still use them to this day. Just remember, what's the reason behind them being the damsel in distress in the first place? Okay? Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I might as well get going. I got some stuff to do and got some other stories to do. But still, it's great to see you guys again. Hope you guys take care and be extra careful, stay safe, and always be yourselves. Okay. So you guys take care of yourselves. Thank you, Queen Babe. See you around, Jaden. Bye, guys. Or should I say bye, buzzing folks?